All right, let's dive in and crack open the source code of modern music. We're about to uncover the secret playbook, like the hidden DNA that shaped the songs you have on repeat right now.
Seriously, have you ever wondered about this? You're scrolling through TikTok, your Spotify, and a track it hits differently, right? It's got that vibe, that groove. But where does that actually come from?
Well, to find the answer, we got to go back, way back. We're going to look at the original musical DNA, the actual building blocks that producers and artists are still using like decades later. It's like finding the original game engine for all your favorite new releases.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. These two names, soul and Motown, they're basically the legendary ancestors of the music you love. Now, they might sound kind of similar, but trust me, they each had their own unique style, their own secret sauce.
All right, so check this out. Soul music? Think of that as pure, raw emotion. It came straight from the heart, with these super powerful roots in gospel church choirs. It was all about telling real stories, the struggles, the joy, all of it. Motown, though, that was a different beast. It was born in Detroit, the Motor City, and it was literally built like a car on an assembly line, polished, absolutely perfect, and designed to be a massive pop hit that everyone, everywhere could dance to. Two totally different goals.
So, what's in the soul music recipe? First up, you need these incredibly powerful, emotional vocals, the kind of stuff singers learned in church. Then you add some super catchy, danceable rhythms that just make you want to move. And finally, you pour in lyrics about real life, the good, the bad, everything. The secret ingredients, you got piano, organ, and a saxophone to give it that unforgettable, heartfelt sound.
Okay, now let's switch gears and head to Detroit. This is where one record label completely changed the game. They literally built a musical empire by turning hitmaking into a science.
So the founder, this guy Barry Gordy Jr., he had this totally genius idea. He's looking at the car factories all over Detroit and thinks, wait a minute, why can't we build songs the same way? So he did. He created a musical assembly line. Every single part of the song, the lyrics, the beat, the performance, was carefully crafted and checked for quality, just like a brand new car.
And this was his system. Step 1, get the absolute best writers in the business to create a hit. Easy, right? Step 2, have the most elite, top-tier musicians in the world record it. But step 3, this is where it gets wild. The producers would literally hold these weekly meetings to listen and vote on which tracks were actually good enough to be released. Can you imagine that pressure? Only the best of the best made it to step 4, releasing a perfectly polished pop masterpiece.
And here's a super clever trick they used. They knew that most people back then would hear their music for the first time on a, kind of tinny car radio. So they actually engineered their songs to sound amazing on those small speakers. They boosted certain sounds so their music would just pop right out of the radio. It was a simple move that made their tracks completely unforgettable.
So, we know the process, but what were the secret ingredients? The special power-ups that made these songs so timeless.
Okay, so every great team has its secret MVPs, right? The players who do all the work behind the scenes. Well, for Motown, it was a whole band you've probably never even heard of.
Get ready for this. The Funk Brothers. This one group of studio musicians played on more #1 hits than the Beatles, Elvis, and the Rolling Stones combined. Let that sink in. These guys were the anonymous superstars who created those iconic grooves that powered the entire Motown machine. They were the ultimate secret weapon. For real.
And for soul music, the big power-up came straight from the church. Gospel music was basically the blueprint. You know that thing in songs where a singer calls out a line and the backup singers answer? That's called call and response, and it came right from church services. And all those passionate, emotional vocal runs you hear, totally borrowed from gospel singers. It gave the music this deep, spiritual feeling you just couldn't find anywhere else.
Okay, so this all happened a long time ago. You're probably thinking, why does this even matter to me, right now, with my AirPods in? Well, let's connect the dots, because it matters more than you think.
One of the biggest reasons is this technique called sampling. Producers today can take just a tiny piece of an old soul or Motown track, like a drum beat, a bass line, whatever, and build a brand new hit around it. It's like remixing a classic video game skin for a new character. It's the ultimate tribute, and it keeps that classic DNA alive in today's music.
And the influence goes way deeper than that. That super emotional singing style you hear in modern R&B, that's pure soul. The slick, perfectly choreographed performances from stars like Beyoncé or Bruno Mars, that's straight out of the Motown playbook. You hear these classic songs in movies, you see them inspiring TikTok trends, and new artists are constantly covering them. For real, the DNA is everywhere.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. Whether you know it or not, the artists on your favorite playlist are part of this long, amazing legacy. They are literally standing on the shoulders of these giants from the past, building on the foundations they laid down decades ago.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you know the history, who should carry the torch next? Think about your favorite modern artist. What classic soul or Motown track do you think they should sample or cover? The playbook is just sitting there, waiting for the next generation to pick it up and create something new.